Hello, everyone. Fabulous. My name is Tsaran. I'm an Android accessibility technical program manager. And we're super happy that you decided to spend the next 40 minutes of your time at this conference with us, learning about accessibility and about related work we do at Google. So thank you for that. And that's cool. So why we're here today? In this session, we would like to showcase how access to surrounding environment, information, and technology can empower people with disabilities to be productive and independent in their lives. According to World Health Organization, there is over 1 billion people with disabilities in the world. It's 9 zeros. 150 million of these people have difficulty performing even the most basics of daily tasks. For example, some of us take for granted picking up a glass of water, or walking out of the house to your favorite restaurant, or listening to a video on YouTube, or finding something in low lighting conditions. For other people, these tasks aren't so easily achievable. Technology has an amazing power to change that. In fact, if you think about it, for millennia, humanity has been developing low and high-tech gadgets. I'll give you a few examples. Wheel. Sorry, no Nobel Prize for this one. But fire, clock, typewriter, smartphone. All of these things we have been creating so that we can improve the quality of our lives. For some people, this is just to improve the quality of their lives. Yet for others, like for people with disabilities, these gadgets, these new technical advancements, made it possible, in many cases, enabled to live their lives. I, for example, being completely blind, could not do my work at Google without assistive technology, or computers, or other tools that help me to do very basic things in my life, paying bills, taxes, what have you. So in this case, again, technology is just super important. And today, we would like to talk to you about some of that technology. Now, some of you probably in the audience have experienced low lighting conditions where you were trying to find something. Or how about a shaky train where you were trying to read something, the book that you've been waiting for so long to pick up and read? Many things, right? You might remember discomfort and frustration that you find yourself grappling with when finding yourself in such circumstances. You probably wouldn't want discomfort and frustration to be companion for the rest of your life. But unfortunately, for many people with disabilities, it is. They have to live with this. Now, technology, as I mentioned before, has an amazing power to change, if not all of that, then certainly a lot of these things. We at Google actually create some of that technology. I think we know something about technology at Google, right? We create that technology. And since we create that technology, we feel like we have you here for that purpose, so we can tell you about things we create. Over the last year, we've been working hard on creating some of the new tools to help people with disabilities, but also create new APIs and frameworks to help developers like you to create more accessible apps and more inclusive products. With that, I would like to invite Brian to talk to you, to kick off our marathon, and to talk to you about, well, where's Brian?
I'm right here.
Oh, you're here?
I'm here.
All right. Here goes Brian. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, everybody. My name is Brian Kemler, and I'm a product manager on Android accessibility. I'm excited to discuss our new accessibility services and the APIs that make them possible. Now let's dive in and discuss how we're innovating in this space. First, I'm going to talk about what we're doing in Android P to make hearing conversations a little easier. Listening is difficult, even in a quiet field with no background noise and a large set of ears. But the everyday reality is we live, work, and play with an increasing amount of environmental noise. In fact, unwanted sound is one of the most common environmental problems. It's not only annoying, but it prevents us from understanding our colleagues, friends, and loved ones. No matter how well we can hear, most of us can relate to the following acoustically challenging situations. Listening to your dinner date in a loud restaurant, trying to listen to a caller in a loud airport lounge, listening to a presenter who is speaking too softly, like me right now. One could think about environmental noise as a form of situational disability. But what if you could turn down the noise and boost the signal on your smartphone so you would never miss the conversation? Now you can, because today we're introducing Sound Amplifier. Sound Amplifier is a new accessibility service that helps users focus on real-world conversations using only an Android smartphone and a set of headphones. Users can tune hundreds of personalized levels to optimize their listening experience to the current environment. Its two sliders for loudness and tuning dynamically adjust over 100 audio presets in the background. The settings can then be independently applied to each ear. Adjusting them provides ambient sound, it improves ambient sound quality in a vast array of scenarios, including enhancing sound in loud, distant, or faraway spaces, increasing the volume of somebody who speaks softly, turning up the TV to a volume that's understandable and acceptable for everybody in the room. Now, I'm going to briefly explain how it was built using the new dynamics processing effect. Sound Amplifier was built on the new dynamics processing effect in Android's audio framework. The effect is based on a 4-stage signal processing architecture. Stage 1 is pre-equalization. You could think about the pre-equalizer as a programmatic way to adjust any audio frequency. Think bass to treble and everything in between. Stage 2 is a multi-band compressor. The multi-band compressor is the keystone of the dynamic processing effect. It adjusts up soft sounds and adjusts down loud sounds to provide a much better listening experience. Stage 3 is post-equalization. Similar to the first stage, it allows you to fine-tune any audio frequency. Lastly, stage 4, the limiter, prevents additional gain above a developer-designated threshold, which prevents loud or unwanted noises. We're going to be doing a number of demos and a deep dive on the dynamics processing effect and Sound Amplifier Thursday at 3:30 on stage 5. So please join us there if you want to learn more. Switching topics, I'm going to discuss what we're doing to make Android easier for users with mobility and dexterity challenges. For example, we're going to do a little empathy exercise. So first, I'm going to ask everybody to take out their phones. All right, now I want everybody to take a screenshot. This does have a purpose. Take a screenshot, please. After you've done that, I want you to do it again, but I want you to do it with just one hand. Screenshot on your phone. Not quite as easy, is it, with one hand? For tens of millions of users, this is their everyday reality. These might be users with tremors or limited hand strength. For them, simple tasks such as holding the phone, pressing hardware buttons, or performing gestures can be difficult painful, and time-consuming. Accessibility Menu is a new accessibility service to make common interactions easier for users with physical disabilities. In the US alone, this is a population of over 75 million users. Accessibility Menu simplifies the following functions: hardware shortcuts including power off, lock screen, take screenshot, and volume control, gestures like swipe up and swipe down for recent apps, notifications, and quick settings. It'll also allow you to invoke the assistant or go directly to accessibility settings instantly. Further, we designed it with very large touch targets located at the bottom of the screen. This facilitates reachability for those with smaller hands or limited reach. It works in both portrait and landscape mode. Lastly, Accessibility Menu is built on top of our accessibility framework. We added 2 new APIs for screenshot and lock screen so developers can start using it today. So now, I'm going to pass the baton over to Patrick to talk a little bit about vision.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Patrick Clary. I'm a product manager on accessibility at Google. And I'm very excited today to announce for the very first time here at I/O a new app coming to the Play Store called Lookout. So Lookout is a new app for users who are blind and low vision. And it'll be useful for them in certain situations where they require help from others. So for example, one of these users might be entering a new space for the first time, right? They might not know if other people are present in that space. They might need assistance, for example, finding a chair or reading the Office directory. Another example is when a user is cooking. They might need assistance reading a recipe or locating different ingredients. So the goal of Lookout is to leverage a user's smartphone to make these physical spaces and others more accessible to these users who are blind or with vision impairments. You can think of Lookout as a personal guide that sees the world and speaks items of importance that it detects in the environment. So when a user downloads Lookout and opens the app, this is what they'll see. They'll see a mode selection where they can pick between 4 different modes. And at launch, we'll support work and play, home, scanning, which is for scanning long-form text, and experimental. These allow users to actually specify the activity they're partaking in and fine-tune Lookout to provide more relevant results. So after selecting a mode, a user will be presented with a live view, which will speak items of importance as they're detected. Next, I'd like to roll just a short video that profiles one of our testers, who's an artist up in San Francisco, and describes the impact that an app like this can have.
My first experience with the Labyrinth was this amazing piece of canvas art that we're being allowed to walk on, kind of in this swirling choreography. I was so excited to experience this new thing. My name is Maya Scott. I'm a theater and art instructor. I was born visually impaired. I kind of see like an impressionist painting. I'm often scooching around, working with my supplies, and they don't always end up where I want them to be. And I can't find the scissors.
Scissors at 12 o'clock.
Both as an artist and a teacher, building a labyrinth was the next step for me, to invite people to have a physical experience with art and not just observe it. Very much in our lives, we're invited to watch or listen instead of witnessing or doing.
Lavender at 12 o'clock.
So that gives you a little idea of the type of experience that Lookout can provide. So when we were building Lookout, we focused on what we call a passive experience. And we imagine users using it by wearing their Android device in a lanyard like this, or perhaps in a shirt pocket. Now, this is a big objective of ours, this passive experience. We don't want to force the user to interrupt the activity they're engaging with. For example, if the user is cooking, they can remain engaged in that activity without having to take out their device and interact with the screen. So while wearing the phone, Lookout provides these useful hints about what the user is holding in front of them. And to facilitate this, we've designed a set of external controls. So as you may have noticed in the video, a user can actually knock on the device to begin recognition, this live recognition that Lookout provides. And they can do other things like cover the camera to pause recognition, or use the fingerprint sensor to change different modes. So let me tell you a little bit about how this works. So first, Lookout will collect live imagery of the scene around the user, and then we'll run a series of machine learning recognizers to detect things like barcodes, detect if people are present, detect objects, and read text in the scene. The next thing we do is score these items based on a personalization model and the mode that the user has chosen. This way, we only speak the relevant and important items to the user. This is important because, as you can imagine, in a standard scene, there could be many things we can detect. However, we only want to tell the user about the important things based on what we know about the context that they're currently in. It's important to note that we do most of this all on the device so that latency is low, and you can actually use this app completely without an internet connection. So that's Lookout, an app for users who are blind and low vision that harnesses the power of machine learning to provide relevant results about physical spaces around them. It's coming to the Play Store for users in the US on Pixel devices very soon this summer. And we'll also start rolling out to trusted testers. So if you'd like to test this app, go to google.com/accessibility and sign up to be a trusted tester. You can come to our sandbox to see a demo as well. So next, I'll hand it over to Maya, who will talk about what we're doing in the cognitive space.
Thank you, Patrick. Hi, I'm Maya Ben Ari, and I'm a product manager on Android Framework. A year ago, we launched a service called Select to Speak, targeted at users with difficulties of reading. Select to Speak allows users to select text on the screen, and the text will be read aloud. Today, we're happy to announce that we added OCR capability to Select to Speak in camera and picture. This makes text even more accessible. User can simply select text using the camera or in the picture, and the text will be highlighted and read aloud. Now, I want to show you a brief demo. For that, I'm actually going to go off the stage. I'm going to open my camera. Can my camera be shown? Here you go. So this is the live camera view, and this is the regular camera. And I have here the accessibility button. Here in the corner. I'm going to turn it on. And next, I'm going to select the text.
Select to Speak with OCR is available in Android P Beta today. Please try it out.
Thank you. Now, back to the stage, and where's my clicker? Here you go, clicker. So, it's available in Android P Beta today. It's going to come soon to the general beta. We'd love to have your feedback. Now I'm going to talk a bit about Android Framework. And our goal in the Android Accessibility Framework is to help get rid of the assumptions that devices are built on. For example, not all users can interact with the touch screen or with the standard UI, or even hear the sounds that the device is producing. Now, we're supporting this goal in two ways. The first one is we're developing APIs for apps and services to make it easier to support a wide range of audience. And second, we are implementing accessibility features into the framework. Now, I will talk about 3 new API additions to enable developers to make their app more accessible. And the first one is add a pane title. So first, let me start is what is a pane. A pane is a section of the window that is visually distinct for user with which is visually distinct for user and change it like a window changes. An example of a pane you can see here in the quick setting and the notification shade. Prior to Android P, accessibility services could not easily determine when panes on the screen had been updated. In Android P, we added an attribute called accessibility pane title. Now accessibility services are automatically notified to changes to the pane, so users get more granular information about what has changed with minimal input from app developer. So please do add a title to your pane. The second API is called an accessibility heading. This is an attribute so developer can mark whether something is a heading inside their app. And this is intended for apps with text-heavy views. This will allow TalkBack users who cannot see the screen to navigate more efficiently between different headings inside their app without forced listening to the whole text. And the last API is we add the ability, the last API is for setting what is focusable. And that API is designed to control the grouping of the content. For example, let's say that you have a sports scores, and you want to ensure that the number goes with the team instead of TalkBack reading all the teams and then all the numbers, which can be very confusing for the users who cannot see the screen. Now you can use Screen Reader Focusable to improve how screen readers group the content. And by the way, we're also updating our documentation for accessibility focus and grouping, so please check it out, the accessibility section in developer.android.com. Now I'm going to talk about 3 new additional features coming to the Android framework. The first one is adjust vibration. This is a new setting for users with dexterity issues to adjust the ring and notification vibration and also the touch sensitivity. The second setting is called remove animation, as some users find animation distracting, so we basically just added a new setting to turn those off. And the last feature is a year ago we launched the volume key accessibility shortcut. So basically, to toggle on and off accessibility services, you need to long press for 3 seconds the volume keys. Now, we did 2 changes to that one based on the feedback. The first one, we added new settings that you can toggle on and off, which is color correction and color inversion. And the second one is we reduced the time to activate from 3 seconds to 1 second after the initial activation. In the next section, I'm going to talk about testing for accessibility and its importance for everything that we build into the OS. We see the power of the accessibility services in the app ecosystem, and we want that ecosystem to be as accessible as possible. Now, there are multiple ways to test, including manual testing and automated testing. In general, we found the combination of both could provide you a better coverage for your app. Next, I'm going to cover different testing tools and how those can be integrated to discover accessibility issues. First, let me talk a little bit about manual testing, as this is the most reliable way to understand how your product are used by different users with disabilities. What you need there is you need to turn on talkback or switch access with your app because you want to be in the shoes of the user to feel how it is to run an accessibility service. However, we are aware that manual testing takes time, and you cannot test for every change that you make into the app, and for that we also provide, there is also automated testing. We developed Android Accessibility Testing Framework, also shortly called ATF, to quickly identify common accessibility issues early in the development cycle. ATF is an open source library which we already integrated into Espresso and RoboElectric testing framework, so you can leverage your existing tests to identify accessibility issues. ATF 3.0 is now available on GitHub. Next, we have two automated tools that integrate accessibility testing framework, Play Prelaunch Report and Accessibility Scanner. In Play Prelaunch Report, we're making it even easier to get accessibility test results by integrating those directly into the developer console. Now, first, what is Play Prelaunch Report? This is an automated testing solution which crawls apps on multiple physical devices and detects issues the developer can fix before reaching their end users, including recognizing crashes and performance issues. The tool runs automatically on all APK published to the alpha and beta channel. Now, Play Prelaunch Report also include accessibility tests. This is yet another example how we integrate our core accessibility testing library. As Play Prelaunch Report crawls your app, as in this example, this is a cooking app, in each step it will launch accessibility tests, including contrast ratio, touch target size, missing labels, and so on, and the test result will be automatically integrated into the test report. This will provide the developer an opportunity to fix those before their app launches and make their app more accessible. Lastly, I'll mention Accessibility Scanner, which is an app that suggests accessibility improvement for Android apps utilizing accessibility testing framework. And we're very happy that up till today, Accessibility Scanner discovered more than 3.5 million opportunities for improving accessibility in apps, So big shout out for Accessibility Scanner. A new version of Accessibility Scanner is available today with additional accessibility checks such as traversal order for screen reader and incorrect element type for accessibility. We also improved the UI for contrast suggestion. And finally, we also are allowing changes for threshold for contrast ratio and touch target size. So to download Accessibility Scanner, please go to g.co Accessibility Scanner. To sum up this section, we talked about manual testing and we showed a number of tools to help automate testing. But the most successful projects incorporate both manual testing and automated testing. So please do try out the different tools and do develop a testing strategy for accessibility for your app. Now, another vital piece of the puzzle is to understand the user experience and your user needs. And with that said, I will hand it off to Melilssa to talk about user research.
Thank you, Maya. My name is Melilssa Barnhart, and I'm a user experience researcher on Android. So now that we've gotten a sneak peek at the accessibility features and services coming in Android P, I'd like to talk about the role of user research in the design and development process. But first, what exactly is user research? User research focuses on understanding user behaviors, needs, and motivations. It is the process of understanding the impact of design on an audience. So as technologists, we may think we know what's best for our users, but oftentimes we don't. The user is truly the expert in their experiences. By seeking to understand user behaviors, needs, and motivations, we start to challenge our assumptions and reshape our perspectives. Why do it? Why do we do user research? You may have heard the stat that 9 out of 10 startups fail, but you may not know that the #1 reason for failure is lack of a market need for a product. So in those situations, people design and develop products, then look for an audience who might be interested in using them. User research advocates for the opposite. By putting users first, you can validate your ideas and inform your product's direction. Hopefully you're thinking, great, but when do I get started? And the short answer is now. User research involves a set of practices that runs along your existing product development cycle, helping you make decisions at each stage. So methods like field studies, interviews, or competitive analysis can help you explore a specific area of technology and uncover opportunity areas. Once you've decided what you want to build and you have a prototype, methods like cognitive walkthroughs, usability tests, or participatory design exercises can help you make important design decisions. And once your product is out in the market, methods like log analysis, diary studies, or surveys can help you evaluate its performance. And if you don't have a lot of time or experience, that's OK. Just take a few hours and talk to a few users. Jacob Nielsen of the Nielsen-Norman Group found that the best results come from small, affordable studies with no more than 5 users. So now I'd like to show you how Android uses user research to improve our accessibility offerings. Let's take the example of TalkBack vibration feedback. TalkBack, the Google screen reader, uses vibration feedback by default. We knew that some people turn this off, and we wanted to know why. Why do some people turn it off while others leave it on? Are there situations where vibration is more or less useful, and does the pattern or intensity of the vibration make a difference? Good research starts with good research questions. Because we were interested in perceptions of vibration feedback, we started with user interviews. We asked screen reader users questions like, do you use vibration feedback? Why or why not? Have you ever turned it off? When did you turn it off? And how would you describe the intensity of vibration on your phone? Is it too high, too low, or just right? After getting a sense of the participants' needs, we prompted them to compare vibration feedback across a range of Android phones. So these tasks added a usability component to our study. And in this research, we validated a real need for vibration feedback. We learned that vibration provides valuable navigational information to visually impaired users, especially in noisy environments when they may not be able to hear spoken feedback on their device. We also learned that the more distinct the vibration pattern, the more useful. Finally, we learned that users wanted the ability to adjust vibration intensity according to their personal preferences. So in Android P, we're giving greater control to the user over vibration feedback. Anyone will be able to go to their accessibility settings and increase, decrease, or disable vibration. And this is just the beginning. We will continue to make improvements in this area as we further research. So now we're going to hand it over to Victor for some final announcements and resources to help you going forward.
All right. Thanks, Melilssa, for highlighting the importance of user research in the product decisions we make. Super important, as you have seen already. Well, next, we couldn't just let you go without a few more announcements, could we? First, I'd like to announce that voice access, an accessibility service that helps someone with dexterity issues to use their Android phone completely through their voice, just simply issuing voice commands. Voice access is graduating from beta. After months of user research, development, iterations, we are finally ready to launch it and give it to you. Coming soon this summer with new UI enhancements, a better assistant integration, and by assistant I mean Google Assistant, just to be sure. Coming with Google Assistant UI and more improved interaction overall. So look out for voice access. The next thing I'd like to let you know about is that we decided to package a lot of our accessibility services that you commonly find built into an Android device into a single package we call Android Accessibility Suite. Some of the services include TalkBack Screen Reader for people who are blind and visually impaired, Switch Access, a software that allows people with physical impairments to use their device with just a single button or a single switch, Select to Speak, that Maya just demoed a few minutes ago, and Accessibility Menu that Brian also showcased earlier, and more to come. We hope that with the new Android Accessibility Suite, other accessibility services, not just TalkBack, will be more discoverable in the Play Store, as well as this will become a platform for new future accessibility services we will be developing. But enough about us. I think it's time to talk about you a little bit, right? I think you deserve, guys. You build a lot of the cool stuff, too. Last evening, we announced Google Play Awards. And I just would like to give a shout out to a few amazing developers that have been working on stuff or apps to make our ecosystem better and more accessible. First, our winner is Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is a cross-platform solution that connects people who need help with people who are willing or excited to give that help. The way this service works is that someone who is blind or who needs help requests it by declaring themselves as a person who needs help, and then people, on the other hand, can sign up as volunteers, and when such help request comes, they get a notification, then they pick up the video link, and then they can help somebody in real time. So Be My Eyes. Check it out on the Play Store. The next one I'd like to mention is the Open Sesame. Now, Open Sesame is already known to some people who have been with us during various Google I/O events and otherwise. The coolness of Open Sesame accessibility solution is that it allows people to control their Android device by just looking at it. It's amazing. So check out Open Sesame, and the link is on the screen. The last but not least, I'd like to mention we really care about game, because while it's an important aspect of computing to be productive and independent, it's just as important to have fun. And so one of our yesterday winners is a company from New Zealand called Audio Game Hub. And what they've created is an experience for anyone to be able to play audio games with their eyes closed. So you only rely on your ears, and then you play all kinds of funky games. You know, I'm not going to name those games. I hope you'll go to the Play Store and check them out for yourself. And I would like to leave you with a few resources. We already mentioned Accessibility Scanner. Please download it. Test with Accessibility Scanner. The website where you can find all of the best accessibility practices for Android development, g.co/Android accessibility. And, of course, user research. And last but not least, of course, we have lots of sessions for you to explore here at the Google I/O. It's a great opportunity for you to meet us, for us to meet you, so that we can together create a more friendly and more accessible and inclusive ecosystem. Thank you for coming here today.